And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome to Northwest Connections. I'm your host, Robert Pictou. Our show today comes to you from the traditional and unceded territory of the Tsimshian people. Tears to Hope Society was formed in 2019. Lorna Brown and her family began raising awareness for MMIWG when her niece, Tamara Chipman, went missing from Prince Rupert in September 2005. On today's Northwest Connections, we're bringing you a mix of highlights of 2025's Tears to Hope Relay and archive footage.
We started in 2019. That was our first year, and we had a few weeks to get everything organized, and we managed to have, I believe it was 54 runners from Prince Rupert and Smithers and join in at Terrace, and then we finished with a 1 kilometer walk and then a feast afterwards, and it became an annual thing after that and just got bigger and bigger. While being from here, it just makes it that much more personal for me. And also what makes it personal is my cousin Tamara, who went missing in 2005. She's the reason that my family does this work. Like I mentioned before, it's work that chose us. We didn't choose the work. And after she went missing, we became very involved in the national crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Community support, we had a lot of community support. Tamara's father is a fisherman, and a lot of his fisherman buddies came out and helped us with the search, as well as the late Chief Don Roberts from Kitsim-Kalem. He rallied a bunch of community members, and they came and helped with the search as well for quite a few weeks until it started snowing. We've actually gone to Ottawa a couple of times. The first time was to testify and give our thoughts on the possibility of a national red dress alert. So we got to sit in front of Parliament and let people know how crucial this situation is. The second time we went for the national provincial and territorial leaders meeting, and we were the only grassroots organization that was invited to come and speak and give our input into what needs to be done, because the one thing that we've always said was that families need to come first, and we need to be able to let them know what it is we need and what needs to be done. So since 2019, we've gotten bigger and bigger and into supporting families and into now prevention. We really want to focus on youth as well and preventing future cases. So we have been working on a lot of different projects. I'm fortunate that I get to work alongside my mom since the beginning, and we really do see eye to eye on a lot of different things. So she gets the ideas and I help facilitate the whole thing. And so we've actually been doing youth conferences. We've taken family members on wellness retreats, because a lot of the times family members, they don't get that opportunity to take a break from advocating for their loved ones. And so we started taking them in the summer for a few days here and there and just pampering them and just giving them a few days off to just relax. And
this weekend, Florence Naziel began her campaign to walk from Prince Rupert to Terrace in order to increase awareness of the 34 women murdered and missing along the Highway of Tears.
This walk is an awareness walk in honor of the families that lost their loved ones and all our missing women throughout, from Prince Rupert to Prince George, all throughout BC and all across Canada.
Tamara Chipman's relatives were among those gathered at the Friendship Center at the outset of the walk. The 22-year-old woman went missing just outside Prince Rupert's Industrial Park last September 2005.
I'm going to honor my niece Tamara. I love that girl with everything. She's my family, she's my blood. and I pray for all the other families that lost their children, and my heart goes out to every one of them. And we're going to get some answers, and that's what I feel this time. I'm going to walk all the way to Prince George because I want my answers. I want to find out what's going on with our people. This is our blood we're talking about here, and we have to find them. We have to have some closure for what's going on with our people.
Aboriginal elders and local politicians spoke out in support of Naziel's campaign, highlighting the need to keep this issue on the radar.
I think Florence, with her walk going from Rupert to Terrace today, is a key start. And as an opposition in the government, we're going to keep this on the table and look at solutions and the challenges to the transportation issues in the north and in rural areas. And we need to keep this on the front burner, definitely.
Well, clearly it's complex and tragic. The impact on families, the impact on communities has been really big, and yet because it happens over time, slowly, it's easy to let it slip away. And so an event like this really draws attention to the magnitude.
The 147-kilometer trek will take all week, with the group arriving in Terrace this Friday.
Northwest Connections will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
Thank you for staying with us. It began with the Red Dress Project, created by Métis artist Jamie Black in 2010. 15 years later, Red Dress Day, held every May 5th, is a national day of remembrance and activism honoring the lives of murdered and missing Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited people. Let us rejoin the conversation as Denise shares what's in store for the next year's Tears to Hope Relay.
We have decided that we're going to move our run to May 5th. Or as close to it as possible, because it is a 3-day event. And then this fall we are advocating to the Minister of Education for BC to make this a part of schools, similar to the Terry Fox Run and Jump Rope for Heart, and have kids advocating alongside us. This year I invited a bunch of students from Haida Gwaii to Prince George and north, and we had about 750 students and teachers taking part. Thankfully, have friends in high places, and they're actually going to get me a meeting with the Minister of Education this fall. Me living on Vancouver Island, I can zip down to Victoria no problem in an afternoon and take the meetings and and hopefully work with them and get them to make this part of an annual school event. The plan is to also approach TELUS as a major sponsor and to help us. We are so happy to have so much support. Unfortunately, the last time we were in Ottawa, we were told that since the inquiry was delivered to the federal government, our MMIWG numbers have gone up. And so even though we're working so hard to do this difficult work, numbers are going up. And so we're trying to do our part in this, in our little corner of the world. And I think to have the support that we've had, to hear the people driving by and honking for everybody, it's really, really heartening to see how much the North is standing with us.
22-year-old Tamara Chipman was born and raised here in Terrace. This afternoon, a press conference was held where her family sent out an emotional message pleading for the public's help.
I pray that anybody out there who has possibly come across her since September 21st, that they would contact the RCMP. This is a girl who's loved by her father and her stepmom and her mother. She's loved by all of her family.
She is approximately 5'10" tall, and 130 pounds. She has brown eyes, very short brown hair. However, Miss Chipman was known to wear various wigs that were blonde, brunette, and red in color. It is unclear at this time what clothes she may have been wearing at the time of her disappearance.
She was last seen in Prince Rupert on September 21st at around 4:30 p.m., hitchhiking on Highway 16 near the industrial park outside of town. Brown says no one has been in contact with Tamara since September 21st, adding she has a son and left him with her grandfather.
Tamara is, she's a mother. I said she has a 2-year-old, and it's not really out of her, it's very out of character for her to not wonder how her child is doing. I mean, she's had a birthday since this time, since September 21st.
There have been several disappearances over the years of Indigenous women along Highway 16, which has also been labeled the Highway of Tears. Reports say over 30 women have gone missing between Prince Rupert and Prince George in the last few decades. Tamara's parents are hoping to hear from her soon.
We do have some very active, viable investigational avenues that we're pursuing quite vigorously. At the same time, we remain open to any possibility, including the historical events along Highway 16.
At this time, foul play cannot be ruled out, and police are treating this incident as suspicious.
Police say Tamara has had a past hitchhiking, adding it was not an excessive habit. Brown says there's been no financial transactions and absolutely no contact with her since the disappearance. If you know where she is or if you came into contact with her in Prince Rupert, you are asked to call the local RCMP detachment.
Northwest Connections will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
Welcome back to Northwest Connections. A 724-kilometer length of Yellowhead Highway 16 between Prince Rupert and Prince George is known to many local residents as the Highway of Tears. The designation stems from a tragic number of predominantly Aboriginal women who have either disappeared or have been discovered murdered along this highway. In this next segment, Unifor 2000 President Brian Gibson shares how he became aware of Tears to Hope Relay.
Unifor is the acronym is a Unifor, Union for Everyone, is what it stands in English. In French, it's Unifor, as in Union Strength. So we wanted to pick a title that was kind of bilingual, and predecessor unions, Communication Energy Paperworkers Union and the CAW formed Unifor in 2013. So it was we're a labor union. We represent like 320,000 people across Canada, workers in all sectors of all different industries throughout Canada. So it's one of I believe the largest private sector union in Canada. I think when I came in 2022, I noticed the signs. I asked some questions. I talked to our Indigenous liaison, Gina Smoke, and then they did a little digging, and we ended up getting more involved. So in 2023, I think Gina and Nikki came along and helped with some of the pilot vehicles, and ever since then, Unifor has also had its own event in October that in the communities across Canada that basically in honor of the Tears to Hope relay, but they do their own kind of walk and raise funds. Well, Unifor is here to put sort of action to some of the to truth and reconciliation, something that Unifor strives to do, and a lot of things that we do. I think this is an actual physical way that we can participate. What's happened on this highway is tragic, with the number of people that have gone missing, and I think it's important to bring some awareness to that and to some raise funds to help with the Indigenous Healing Center to help the families heal. We do one in the fall for this that's tied to this event to raise funds, and we donate to the Tears to Hope Society. We also do the Steps for Life, which is again in honor of the Day of Mourning for Workers. So April 28th, usually the Saturday after that, the Tears. Sorry, getting my things mixed up here. Steps for Life runs a 5-kilometer relay and raises funds to again bring awareness to those that have either been injured or killed in the job. But the goal is to make sure that health and safety and all that stuff happens, so that members go to work and come home from work, right? It was okay, little cold and drizzly, and luckily we started on a flat spot to sort of get warmed up. Had a great team, a couple of my members from town here in Terrace at CFTK and Vista Radio, yourself, Robert, as well as Mike Nagel from Mike in the Mornings, as well as our Secretary-Treasurer, Bill Catterall, who we both came up from Vancouver to do it. So it was good. It was not too hot, not too cold, and I thought it was quite nice. And between the four of us, we were able to split our 10K into manageable segments to get us there right on time. I'm honored to be here for this ceremony. I think it's you saw when they raised the hands how many members or families that have people missing. I think it's very important that we show up to things like this, because as the one woman was saying, they feel support, and that's what we want to do. I mean, as a settler ally that wants to support, this has to stop. It needs to be investigated. And I mean, it's sad that we don't have answers to some of these people that have been missing. So I'm hoping this also brings awareness to that, in addition to what the society is trying to do with the Healing Center.
22-year-old Tamara Chipman was last seen on September 21st hitchhiking outside of Prince Rupert. Over the weekend, police were on the ground searching several locations, but Chipman was not found.
On the weekend, the Prince Rupert team of RCMP officers that are working on this disappearance organized a search through search and rescue out of Prince Rupert, and we were searching a number of locations that are of interest to us that have surfaced during the investigation. That search was completed, and despite some rumors that a body was recovered, that is not true.
Not ruling.
Stubbs won't say why police chose particular locations to search, but they have received some tips in their investigation.
We've received some more tips from the public, which we appreciate. However, we are again appealing for anyone who may have seen Tamara on September 21st at around 4:30 p.m. hitchhiking just outside of Prince Rupert to please again come forward and talk to us if you have not yet. And again, anyone that may have any idea where she is, anywhere in the province or in the country, please come talk to us, and we'll be more than happy to take your tip.
Northwest Connections will be right back after these messages. And now, from the CFTK TV studios, this is Northwest Connections with your host, Robert Pictou.
Over 60% of Indigenous women in Canada have experienced physical or sexual assault in their lifetime. This includes both First Nations, Métis, and Inuit women. Alicia Corbett, a senior researcher with the National Inquiry into Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls, stated, "What the legacy of residential schools and MMIWG have in common is the federal government's inability to act in any meaningful way to redress this violence." In this final segment of Northwest Connections, Connie Greyeyes shares why she attended this year's Tears to Hope Relay.
Mine is, her name was Joyce Marie Cardinal. She was beaten and doused with gasoline in Edmonton in 1993. She passed away a few days later. And we are one of the lucky ones that got justice. The guy happened to be at a party bragging about what he did. And somebody was like, is this guy for real, right? Called it in, and that's how they caught him. And he went to prison for he got life. And, we're lucky. There's so many families across BC, across Canada that don't have that don't even know where their loved ones are. We're lucky. But it's sick to even say that we're lucky to have justice, But that's the reality for a lot of families across Canada. This is the first time that I personally have come to the event. A couple of years in a row, other co-workers have been asked to come down, and I was so honored when Lorna messaged me and asked if I would come down and support this important event that happens every year. I'm so honored to be here amongst the runners, the families. I know a lot of family members that have missing loved ones. I personally have missing family members, murdered family members. So it really means a lot to be here to support Lorna and Denise and the families. It comes from that. It comes from residential schools. This government has taught its citizens how to treat us less than. That's why when we go missing, there is an alarm bells. Like you can have two women, one non-Indigenous and one Indigenous, and if you put that on social media, you'll see who gets the most shares. the alarm bells are ringing for the non-Indigenous person. Meanwhile, the Indigenous woman, it's like, another one's missing. You know, what were they doing? Those kinds of things. So I'm not shocked at all. And I've always believed and you know, that I've been lucky enough to work with many survivors. I'm myself a child of survivors. It's not lost on all of us why, and that connection is there with everything, you know, including day schools. You know, the trauma that came from that is equal, you know, to what the survivors went through with residential schools. The fact that Indigenous women and girls and Indigenous people would have their own special alert should say something to the rest of Canadians, you know, that we're targeted, you know, like just in our own community. You know, somebody wrote something atrocious underneath our Every Child Matters sign, where you know, we're keeping a tally of how many children have been found, you know, and that's right across all of Canada. And the fact that, you know, that it's a consideration having a red dress alert, I'm all for it. You know what, I'm so scared on the weekends when my nieces go out, even my nephews, when they go out, I'm like, I don't ever want that phone call that I've gotten before, you know, that they're missing or they've been harmed.
These posters of Tamara Chipman will soon be found all over Terrace. Chipman's dad, stepmom, aunt, and family friend had these posters made. They spent the afternoon putting them up and talking to the public about the disappearance of their loved one.
If there's anybody who'd like to help, we just they can get a hold of the Amnesty International. They have the poster on their website, and if there's people that are interested in helping, they could get copies of that from them.
Tom Chipman says since the press conference on Wednesday, his phone has been ringing off the hook and is thankful for the community's support. He adds these last few days have been extremely hard on the family.
Everybody's pretty upset about it, and it seems to be sinking into a little more into reality with the coverage, and you know, the police are asking for help, and it seems to be, you know, apparently getting more serious. And
Chipman says reality is starting to sink in every day that passes with no word from his daughter.
yes, waiting is hard. I mean, you know, we thought with the publicity, that coverage, that, you know, she would come forward if she had just been hiding out, but you know, the longer it goes on, the worse the feelings get, eh? So at this point in time, we are pretty worried.
Staff Sergeant Eric Stubbs is working on this case. He says since Wednesday, the detachment has received a number of tips from the public.
We're investigating each one of those tips and are moving on to the other investigative avenues that we have had and we're continuing to follow. We're hoping that the public will continue to call us, continue to give us more information, because we do need more information.
Over the last few years, many Aboriginal women have gone missing along Highway 16. Stubbs says the Highway of Tears does affect this investigation, adding they are currently looking into it.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Northwest Connections. The greatest distance in the existence of man is not from here to there, but the connection from his mind and heart. If we can conquer that distance, we can soar like an eagle and realize our immensity within. I'm Robert Pictou.